Hey Jasper, am I interviewing you or are you interviewing me? This is my goal. I want to make X amount. And then my father would stop me and say, what for? You need to find the best partner you can find. My advice for the 20-year-olds there is be the best version of you so you can find the best woman or best partner.
Right.
And that's the most important decision you can make. So what's it like working with a wife? Oh my gosh. That's a whole different podcast, but it's tough. I mean, okay. We're very open about this.
Hi, welcome to Build Different, a leadership podcast where we all strive to learn how to build ourselves better through the different stories that we share with you weekly. My name is Jasper, your host for this episode. Now, have you ever been in a motel? Like this one. Well, this is not the podcast to deep dive on the kinks, but definitely on the industry that it has created. Our guest is best known for his work with Victoria Court, his family's chain of boutique Love Motels. He has 20 plus years in the hospitality industry. He creates unique thematic rooms for adults and has rebranded the business to focus on sexual wellness. He's also a passionate guy in terms of health and fitness. With his wife, they founded King's Wellness, an all-organic premium broth and bespoke meal provider. Now he's a husband and a father of 5 kids.
5.
He is a different kind of leader, as this podcast will reveal. And of course, we are certain that you'll fall in love and marvel in the personality and the perspective of this guy. I'm talking about our guest for this episode. How about a big hand for Mr. Atticus King, one of the coolest we have.
Thank you.
Atticus, first of all, thank you for hosting us in this beautiful place.
Thanks, Jasper. Okay. First time here, right?
First time here, first time to see this contraption.
Yep. Okay, yeah, we don't know. All right.
We should be certain about that, folks.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. It's my job not to know.
So. And of course, from this day on, I'll be supporting because, this is good also for the family.
From this day on.
From this day on.
From this day on. Okay.
Let me tell you, it's a clean slate. Okay, so given that this one is a leadership podcast, we'd like to begin first with you describing yourself as a leader. How is Atticus as a leader?
Oh my gosh. I think the first word that comes to mind is evolving. I think when I became a dad, that's when I felt I matured as a leader. Having kids is the most powerful way to test your leadership and to see what actually works every day, every minute you interact with your kids. All the theory that you learn in school, I went to business school, and in practice, you're practicing it with your kids.
Yeah.
And so it's the same little methodologies to inspire, to reward, to motivate, to punish that we use when we create teams.
And I just thought
to punish, yes. That's a different kind of punish. This is going to be fun. So yeah, I'd say my word is evolving as a leader. I'm constantly learning better ways, more effective ways to motivate. And I have 5 kids, and each kid has a different personality. So one style doesn't work for all. You have to customize your approach. And it's the same way when you lead teams. You have to understand the person's motivation, the person's desires, and align with those desires to really get the best out of the individual.
I like that. Evolving. I love the parallelism also to your personal life as well. So let's talk more about your personal life. And how it catapulted you into the kind of leader that you are, an evolving one of that. 3rd generation entrepreneur, that's what you are. But how would you describe your journey into getting to ease into the family business yourself?
Oh, I wouldn't describe it as eased in. I was required.
Required, okay.
I was born lucky. I was born privileged. I'm 3rd generation, so my grandfather made the money, my father grew it. So when I arrived, I was expected from an early age. I'm the eldest of my generation. I was expected, hey, on summer you got to work, no allowance. You have to be inspecting rooms. So as early as I think 14 or 15, I was into guitar back then, and I remember I wanted to buy an amplifier, and my dad said, okay, every room you inspect, you give me a report, I'll pay you 100 pesos.
Okay.
So early on, I wouldn't say forced, but I was gently ushered in to work for the family. And during summer, I remember when I graduated college, I finished hotel management, and I asked my dad, all my friends were taking vacations, they're like, oh, we'll take a year off, we'll explore. And I was like, Dad, I'd love to go check out Europe. And he's like, no, I'll see you at work. This is after my graduation, on my graduation day. So let's say graduation was Thursday or Friday. He's like, I'll see you in office on Monday. So Monday I was in office, and I remember.
You were still in high school? Or?
No, right after, college.
Okay.
And I resented it in the beginning. Because I was like, wow, this isn't fun. My friends are all out vacationing, taking time off, but I was at work. But now in hindsight, I understood the value. I understand and appreciate the value, because he introduced it so early that it was natural for me. What I understood, the little things that most people take a lot longer to assimilate.
Right.
So I would say the word, I was gently ushered into the business. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I get to see the dynamics of how you were in the family as well, as you mentioned. You were ushered into the business. But then, apart from that, maybe let us in also into how were your parents also? Were they nurturing, or were they stern in getting into the business? How was it generally as a family?
My grandfather was very practical. So I had an obsession with music. I still do. I love music. And my grandfather, as the founder, would always tell me, "What are you doing with that? What's that for?" Ooh. I mean, and our meetings would always cover numbers and performance numbers. He would compare my uncle and my father and say, your father's making this much, your uncle's making this much. Ooh. Your uncle's making more because your uncle's spending more time in the office. What are you doing? So it was metrically driven. It was not just you have to work harder. There was a clear number to performance, to hard work that he expected.
KPIs,
yes. And I was 16. Right. We have all the grandchildren had scheduled meetings with him once a week, 1 hour meetings. Ooh. We were calendared, so it was a weekly cadence. We were required to see him and walk with him around the village, and during that walk, he would impart these values of discipline, hard work. So I was expected to step up. My father, on the other hand, as expected, was very chill. Okay. Because his father, my grandfather, was very hard on him.
Okay, there's a balance.
So my father's case, growing up, I tell my dad, I want to make this much. This is my goal. I want to make X amount. And then my father would stop me and say, what for?
Ooh,
and he would say,
that is interesting.
Yeah, so it was a total contrast opposite. My dad would say, what for? What are you going to do with that money? And I go, then Dad, what should I aspire for? And then he would argue, why not look for more meaning, balance? Ooh. So my dad was a philosopher. At heart, he was very spiritual. He was not religious, but he was very spiritual. He was the type of guy, every morning he'd practice his Tai Chi, he'd meditate at 5:30 a.m. for an hour. He was into energy and just maintaining balance. Early on, he taught me a concept called the peace of mind square, where he measured my performance, his family's performance, not based on how much we made, but a balance of our health, our mental development, our spiritual, and our emotional. So that was very powerful. And I was very lucky to get exposed to that early on.
Right.
Because it balanced what my grandfather, my lolo, was all about, which was money, money, money,
Right.
grow the business, build, build, build. My dad brought in the human side, where he helped me realize that there's more to just making money. Of course, we have to make money. I mean, you have to have a strong financial foundation. But after that, there's life after that. There's more meaning after that. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Actually, I feel like you're really blessed with, you know, having the best of both worlds, I suppose.
Yeah,
maybe
lucky. Yeah.
the way your father has been to you was because of how he was like the first person to get the kind of training that your grandfather has given, right?
Yes,
So somehow he needed to be chill.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, he went through a lot. I remember my uncle would tell me stories where my grandfather was so tough. He would berate them and he would make them cry. And they were adults already. My lolo was. But you know, I respect that, because if you guys know any founder's story, they have to be the toughest. Because my lolo's analogy, which I still use to this day, is the most amount of force you need for a rocket to take off is the initial force.
Right.
And that has to be the strongest. And my lolo was that. Birthing pains, yeah. So he had to be the most powerful engine to get the rocket up, and after that, momentum-wise, much easier.
Okay, I think being third generation has its perks.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
All right, so somehow I get the idea, and then based on your bio, you've mentioned and you describe yourself as righteous, impossible, and an a-hole.
Yes, and can I swear? And an asshole, so yeah.
who requires all his office employees to call him by his first name and avoid using sir or sir.
Yeah.
Could you let us further into the leadership style and leadership psyche that you have, which somehow we have an idea already because of what you've shared earlier, but let us in a little bit more.
I'd love to. So a lot of what my father taught me is about introspection and really understanding yourself. And my uncle also, I need to give him credit, taught me early on that to be an effective leader, you have to be the smartest person you can be. You have to be the most knowledgeable. You don't have to be the best at everything, but when you're running an organization, you have to have at least foundational understanding of each department. So technical competence, in other words. So that's one skill set that I cultivated early on. And as I went down that road, I also noticed that the dynamics between social class, you know, being born Chinoy, being third generation, being, I like to say Chonyo when I speak Tagalog, it creates a barrier. And to remove that barrier, I required my team to stop calling me sir, because I want them to feel comfortable. I wanted to. That's something I grabbed from American culture, where they can feel more like I can speak to you.
First name basis.
First name basis, and I also wanted to cultivate an open door policy where they could speak up, and to teach them candor, where they can say they can bring up issues that were bothering them or that we can improve in the company. And the funnier side is, at the end of the day, you know, it's also ego when everyone's kissing your ass and calling you sir. And I didn't want that. I was like, I don't need that. I am here to work, and I'm actually very inspired by if you guys follow how Elon Musk works now. Like, he sleeps on the factory floor. He doesn't even have a special room in his office. And he's very deliberate about that. If you read articles on how Elon Musk will deliberately set his sleeping cot, sleeping bag or mattress on the factory floor, so everyone can see, that they can see the billionaire boss is on the floor working. He's not hiding behind his office. And there is so much value in creating this or just inspiring people with the leader's presence. So
Are you saying that you also stay inside the Victoria Court?
not often enough. Now that I'm a dad, I don't stay on the
for
side.
sure.
But my favorite thing to do, my favorite hack, is I like biking. And during the holidays, I will do my surprise visits because it's fun to bike and there's no traffic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my. Sorry, did I answer your question?
Yes, of course.
I think I went somewhere else.
No,
Yeah.
but I love it. I mean, how empowering it is really to somehow get into the level of your people and make them feel that they have the right to speak, the right to give their thoughts,
Definitely.
and probably be a partner in terms of creating the business, and that the things that they could contribute or say are going to be valued and taken into consideration when creating decisions. I think
Thank
that
you
is
for
a
making me
milestone.
sound good, Jasper.
I'm trying my best. That's the host of this podcast. Anyways, let us get into. Could you tell us more about, because you've mentioned about your leadership style as being evolved. It's an evolution. How are you looking at Victoria Court as a brand, and how are you going to be evolving it further? And then how would you allow your people to be on the same plane in terms of catapulting it into heights?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I say that because we always joke here that I'm a tito.
We are. We are
You guys don't look like you have kids. Once you become a father, your world changes. My priority, I when I was single, I'd be out 3-4 times a week. I'd be out in the bars and the clubs. I knew how the market behaved. I was part of the market of the motels, but now that I'm a tito, I'm disconnected from that. So, and my friends who used to go out are also dads now. So I am more deliberate now about understanding the different market behaviors now, how the markets evolve and change. For instance, one data point is clubs are shutting down.
Right.
So during Tito Atticus's time, the clubs were the big thing. You go out. Now it's evolved to coffee hangouts with
right.
DJs, right? So that's foreign to me, right? Crystal, have you heard of this?
Oh, we have a guest.
Oh, sorry.
It's the voice, cameo voice.
So it's changed, and it's very important that we stay humble when it comes to not being complacent and trying to evolve the product and evolve it so we can still find our position in the next generation's use case. Sorry, it's a bit a lot of business jargon.
No, but it's perfect for the audience. They're actually learning a lot.
So the use case has changed. The market has evolved. The users have changed, and we need to redefine how we fit in that experience. Did I answer your question?
Yes, but native to the motel industry. So how would you somehow ground it there? What were the changes, and how are you evolving into catering to the needs of your market?
Okay. One thing that my father started that we've tried to continue, we've continued, is he changed the concept of the seedy, scary love motel into we build beautiful rooms, and what you do there is your business. And my father actually didn't call them love motels. I put that name because I felt it was more specific, and it was just clarity. I didn't want to be ambiguous and have to skirt around and have to define what we did. I feel that the next generation is more open now about sexuality, and that sex is not a sin or it's evil and you're going to go to hell, and you'll have to repent and all of that. So I feel now there's a healthier perspective on sexuality and the importance of connection in our lives. So that's kind of the direction we're going, where we feel this is a place where you can create unique memories.
Right.
I like to tell my design team, we want people to come here and say, wow, that's a core memory. I've never experienced that. Like you said, when we opened this podcast, you've never been here, right? Ever. So that's the kind of experience we want. We want to create fun core memories for partners who come here and to say, wow, that was a unique moment in my life. I've never done that or experienced that, and I'd love to revisit that again and associate the brand with that.
And touche. I mean, you have sound system. I was surprised. So you could actually do video coverage?
Yes. So thank you for bringing that up. We do a lot of parties now. That's changed from before. So a big market, surprisingly, are bachelorette parties. So a lot of ladies who are about to get married like to celebrate with us.
Okay.
And it was a surprising evolution and much welcome evolution, where we were now more popular with females than ever.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
I like
changed.
that. That is evolution.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just love for couples, it's love for all now.
It used to be, yes. It used to be the men who were all about the brand. Now it's the women know about it too. Yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. But could you share with us maybe like a time where you were challenged the most, I suppose, in evolving the business? What was it? And I think, could you tell us also how did you break through?
Evolving. I think I inherited my father's the same preconceptions of a motel is scary. It's not safe. It's just the whole old 70s,
The stigma.
80s stigma.
Yeah.
So I inherited that, and we worked hard. So, for example, one thing I'm obsessed with is if we have an old room that looks like an old motel, we shut it down immediately.
Okay.
We say, guys, this is feeding into that stigma, into that cliche that we're avoiding, that when people come here and they say, yee, pangit nito, parang it looks like a drug den or so we avoid that. So if it has like cheap leather, poor 5-watt lighting, if it smells like cockroach, then we don't have those rooms, by the way. If we do, please let me know. You can find me on social media.
Yes.
Yeah, so we really deliberately avoid that. And hopefully you guys will see in this podcast with this room, this is not your typical room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're proud to say that, sorry, a little plug. We've got rooms here that you will be hard pressed to find in the world. We have I like to always joke, we have the Oval Office, and our Oval Office is the only Oval Office where you can have drinks and party.
Oh yeah.
Right, I don't think you can do that.
Everything else.
Yeah, and everything else you want to do. So that's kind of where we're taking the brand, and that's the challenge. It's still pushing back, but at the same time, that's what makes the brand so alluring. That's what makes it fun. That you have this edge, this element, this ingredient of naughtiness, of fringe. You're on the fringe of are they misbehaving?
Right.
So that's what makes the brand so interesting.
Yeah, and I think you've been very successful in doing that, because when I entered also, I was so surprised. I mean, this is better than the other hotels I've been in.
Oh, thank you.
And when I entered, I mean, it's properly lit, and you could actually do a podcast inside. Look at this. I mean, how we've grown the brand into where it should be. And I think those who are listening and viewing this right now would be somehow interested. I mean, definitely into getting into and probably having your own parties right here. So speaking of party, we go to the fun party, because I think this time it has really evolved you as a person. Let's talk about you being a husband and being a father. Let us begin first with the
my favorite
impact.
topic. Okay.
The impact of Kim in your life, I suppose, because in your bio you've mentioned how he has created really that boom of an impact in your life. Could you tell us about that? How she has changed? And then let's get into business also, talking about that later on also, because you have a business together.
I'd love to. For some reason, last night as I was going to sleep, I was thinking, if there's one message I wanted to share to help other future entrepreneurs or 20-year-olds who are business-minded and they're growing and developing their business, the best piece of advice I thought, well, upon reflection, what I tell myself, what I would tell my 20-year-old self is you need to find the best partner you can find. The best, and to find the best partner for yourself, you have to be the best version of yourself.
Ooh.
So use that as motivation, because and that's an intro to my wife. My wife is the best woman I was able to find. I felt that like she was the peak, and she is the peak of at least for my requirements, my personality.
Right.
She was the best woman I could find, and by best I mean she brings a stability to my life where I'm able to be a better version of myself, because I'm more consistent. Before my wife, my sleep patterns, my lifestyle, she fixed that up. She gave me a regimen where I'm now more regular. Back then, if I had a meeting, I would arrive on time or late. Now, on time is considered late. So, but I was late for this meeting because they had to push back. So, no, it's okay. No problem.
Yeah, cool.
So, the effect is so talking about my wife, she's brought so much stability, so much peace of mind when it comes to managing aspects of my life that I am not as focused as I should be. So I guess that balance. So my advice for the 20-year-olds there is be the best version of you, so you can find the best woman or best partner.
Right.
And that's the most important decision you can make, more than the financial decision, is to find a really strong partner, because that partner will help you raise your kids. And once you have kids, you realize how exponentially more important the influence of another person is in the life of your children. It's tremendous. It's yeah.
So you attract what you give up also. So
definitely.
Perfect time later on. But of course, just like Atticus, probably you could explore a little bit later on. Find yourself. I think that is the key word. You find yourself. And at the moment where you actually are ready for something. I mean, sometimes we find other people before finding ourselves. We try to find somebody else to complement or to complete us. But we have to find ourselves first.
Yeah.
I think that is the goal.
Invest in yourself, grow yourself, push yourself to be. How will you know if the person is the best or best one for you? I want to say that if you're not on your game, that you lose this person. Meaning you like my wife would not have chosen me as her partner if I was not focused, if I was not passionate about taking care of the family, working, if I was lazy. So it's really about stepping up to your potential and doing it soon before you find that person, because the sooner you can. That's probably one regret I want to share is I partied too much, and it's that girl's fault over there in the background hiding. Yeah, I'm joking. So partly because of that. So enjoy your 20s, but invest in being that man that can start a family, and it's super important.
Good thing that you guys are hearing or watching this podcast already. Okay? You don't have to get into that learning curve anymore. All right, just in case you want to put this into mind and into heart. But so you've mentioned how impactful it has been when your wife came into your life. But then you've already, tackled a little bit about how fatherhood has changed you. But maybe give us a brief note as to how you improved as a leader when you became a father, especially of 5 children.
Okay. Let me process this.
Take your time.
A brief note on how I improved as a leader.
Yes.
Because it's true.
When fatherhood dawned at you. I think it also has to do with evolution too, right? You've evolved also with the wife coming in, and then further, I think, with having this great role of raising kids.
I think one thing that's changed is my motivation. Where once I was single, the motivation was just all for my pleasure, or meaning my goals and my dreams. But now, when you become a father and you realize, one joke my professor in AIM used to say was, "Do you know why the Thai pants all have a lot of wives?"
Why?
Why? It's because they have a lot of children. I'm sorry, if they have, why they have a lot, no, why do the Thai pants have a lot of businesses?
Why?
Because they have a lot of kids. And the more kids you have, the bigger your denominator. You'd like to leave them with something, right?
But true that, yeah.
So that's it's a truth in my life where, I'm motivated to build more. I'm motivated to build other businesses outside of our core motel business. I have 3 girls.
Yeah.
So we're building our wellness brand. We're building our food brand. So hopefully that's something that they can enter eventually.
Right.
No pressure, kids. If you watch this in the future, no pressure, but I'll see you at the office.
I like it.
So yeah, I guess my motivation has changed. That's the biggest evolution.
That's right. Building a legacy. It's going beyond yourself for sure. And it's stretching you to be a better person as you go along. All right. So let's talk about getting into business with your wife. I mean, you have Kim King Wellness already. How is it? I mean, how's the dynamics and where did this come from, the idea? Is it because you guys are into fitness and wellness yourself?
Yes.
How was this born?
So when I met my wife, unfortunately, I was just reflecting this with my sister Angie, reflecting on this over the weekend. We were born lucky, we were blessed with a lot of opportunities. But one thing we were unlucky with is our constitution. We're the Kings. We're asthmatic. We have joint aches. We're so young, But there is a flip side to that. Because of our fragile constitution, early on we learned the importance of lifestyle changes, dietary changes. And when I met my wife, my girlfriend then, she knew I had to be more careful with my health. I couldn't party hard anymore, or I couldn't drink. I didn't smoke. I never really smoked, so I would drink. And that, she took care of me, and that kind of led down this path where she got her nutrition degree. She's been studying incessantly, upgrading. She's now a certified coach for nutrition, and so we started the Kim King's kitchen back then during the pandemic. We've changed the name to Kim King's Wellness. Sorry, babe. I can't even pronounce your name.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah. So it's been super successful, and we've been lucky about. My wife has. I think our selling point is my wife walks the talk.
Right.
If you ever meet her, she's a mother of 5, but she doesn't look it. She doesn't look like she has kids, and a lot of it is down to her formula for managing her weight, which is after giving birth, she does what's called a broth fast, where she substitutes meals. Let's say you eat 3 times a day.
Right.
She'll substitute 1 meal with just broth. So what this does is it allows her to reduce her calories, and the broth helps with milk production. So there's a slew of other benefits on top of just managing your total caloric intake.
Yeah.
So what's it like working with a wife? Oh my gosh. That's a whole different podcast, but it's tough. I mean, we're very open about this. It's really tough. Reason is, you go home, you work together, and then you go home, you're still talking about work. And it affects your mood. It can get very emotional, and it's different when your mood is affected because of what you do at work, which it shouldn't be. We have to find a way to separate and compartmentalize that. It doesn't happen, actually. It rarely ever happens.
It's like the 6th kid, I suppose, the business.
I'm her 6th kid.
Okay,
my wife is the boss. So, So yeah, going back, it's really tough to work with your wife, but I love it. You know, it's a dream to. I always tell my wife I want to be involved. I want her to be involved in everything that we do. It's like I want to. So we do music together. We exercise together. We work together. I really think of it as having a life partner, and not just someone to raise the kids. You know,
Right.
So we do everything as much as we can. We do everything together.
For sure, there's growth while you do things. So before I go delve more about your other businesses, I wasn't able to ask this a while back, but how is it? I mean, the dynamics between you and your sister in terms of well, personal and of course business, because.
Okay, my sis and I was not a great kuya. So I'm actually older. I know she looks older, but I always get that, honestly.
What's up, Angie?
Yeah. Hey, I call her E, Angie, yeah. We're great. We're great now. I was a terrible older brother. My mom and my dad split when I was 5, and I didn't realize it then, but because they broke up so early, I had a lot of anger because my dad wasn't always around, and I don't blame him. My dad had to work. So in my free time, I was left to my crude, young angry boy thoughts, and I would bully Ian. Back then, it was Ian.
Right.
And I've apologized to her many times as we've grown older, and I realized, for example, one of my big regrets with Angie was when I started playing guitar when I was 14, she played drums, and I would always bully her and say, you're terrible, you suck, you should do something else. And I regret it because I see now a lot of siblings who are still together in bands together, and that could have been us. And
Ben, King and King.
Yeah, King and King. Yeah, Ats and Ange, yeah. So we're great now. Like we hang out a lot. She loves her nephews and nieces. It's a very different dynamic now, and work-wise, I recently, during the pandemic, we bought her out. So we used to share the brand Victoria Court.
Right.
And I bought her out because we have different management styles.
Right.
And that's an area we would clash. And to protect our relationship as siblings, we said, okay, you know what, let me just buy you out, and now we're good. So the only point of conflict we have is if I am not taking care of myself. She's so caring, and we have a joke. She's my food police. So when she visits me at home, because I eat fast, she'll always say, chew your food slowly. And when we eat together, she'll go, okay, time check. It's 12 o'clock. You have to finish your food in at least 15 minutes.
That is so cute.
Yeah. So it's super. So I have to eat slower because she's
be more mindful.
More mindful. She's into biohacking too. So my wife and her are super tight when it comes to that. They both wear continuous glucose monitoring devices. They're not diabetic, but they're obsessed with measuring how food impacts their sugar levels. So so it's a lot of fun now. I'd say we're in a good place.
Amazing. I like it how you guys prioritize the relationship more than the business, which is now working for you. And I think it trickles down also into how you navigate being a father and giving all these wisdom you have learned in a harder way, I suppose, growing up and being a brother yourself.
That's the tricky part. So when I see my kids bullying each other, I'm like, guys, don't make the same mistake I did. Yeah,
I've been here.
I tell them, I go straight up. I was a terrible kuya. Don't do the same thing.
Okay, cool. All right. Apart from the 2 businesses we've been talking about, you have also 2 more.
I do?
If I hear it right, Nerdvana.
Okay,
which is a software company sort of kind of, and Cool Story Bro, which is more of a content kind of thing. If I get it right from Sam, my guy, thank you so much for taking care of us. Can you tell us more about these and how are these companies come into play?
Thanks, Sam, for plugging this in. So, we have a support services group. So all businesses usually have a back office. Right. And we decided about 5 years ago to turn as many of our departments into at least either net zero, meaning we're not losing money yearly, or positive to make money off these departments. And Nerdvana started as our IT team. And before the pandemic, we were in the process of selling our motel system because we've digitized as much as possible.
Right.
A lot of
I've seen the
motels.
site. It's nice.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's fast.
Yeah, a lot of motels still use traditional
Right.
cashier systems. They don't have the same point of sale
Right.
front office system, and ours is bespoke to the number of hours a motel guest would usually use. So we're selling that, and we're catering to that market. If there are other motel users, motel business owners there who want a customized system for your motel, hit us up. So that's what Nirvana does.
There you go.
Yeah. For a cool story, bro, this is kind of what we do. So our marketing team, since we have several startups and brands that we regularly shoot for, we decided, you know what, let's build our own team instead of paying so much for an external company. That's why you had Carlos here. Is Carlos still here?
Yes, Carlos, represent.
Awesome, Carlos. He's a fantastic photographer.
Indeed.
So, we have some clients, and it's starting to take off. We're net zero at least for that
I
department.
love it. I mean, now that you've mentioned, it's now a symbiotic relationship amongst all these things that you juggle.
Yeah.
So perfect. Okay, perfect balance, I suppose, which is also what you're striking into. I mean, we want to have that balance in terms of running life and business all together. Let's talk about you as a musician, because probably not all people know about Atticus the musician. Can you tell us more about your musical journey? And of course, how you're going to be evolving it also later on, if that's part of the plan too.
Yeah. Well, I used to be a guitar player. I was obsessed with guitar since I was 14. I stopped several times. And during the pandemic, right before the pandemic happened, I got injured. I messed up my hand. So now I can only play rhythm. But before that, I'd say I like to joke that I was a semi-pro, you know. What is a semi-pro? I mean, I was getting paid, but it was not enough to feed the family, you know. And I would play for a lot of friends. A lot of them were really awesome artists. Now I'd say I'm more of a guitar teacher or music teacher. My kids, I really gotten them obsessed with music. One piece of advice I'd like to share for parents there who are watching and want their kids to get into music is make it fun. Number one, avoid the cliche of the piano teacher who makes piano tedious and repressive. You know, you want to create first. So I got lucky. We found a teacher who can play multiple instruments. So every time my kid comes up for music class, the teacher asks, "Oh, what do you want to learn today? Do you want to sing? Do you want to play drums? Do you want to play piano? You want to play guitar, bass, ukulele?" So the kid feels more like they can explore music rather than being force-fed to, I need to learn. So anyway, my evolution as a musician, that's where I am now. I'm more of a music teacher dad. My dream now is I want to have a family band. I want to be the roadie for my kids. My wife and I always joke that it's our dream to be the stage dad and mom, just hanging out and watching the kids perform.
That'd be cool.
And it's starting to happen. It's such a strange feeling. Instead of being the one in the front, you're now in the back, and it's fun. And so I want to close something I mentioned earlier in the story, where my grandfather would always say, "You're wasting your time with music," and I have to say, he's probably 80% right. You know, music is such an expensive hobby, not in terms of cash out, but in terms of if you want to get to a level where you can play with great musicians, it's expensive because you have to practice so much. When I'm prepping for a gig, it's at least 2 hours a day of reviewing, studying, at least 2 hours a day. And that gets expensive. You know, 2 hours a day when you're a parent, that's a lot of time. On top of everything else. So, but the best thing that I picked up from music is it's opened doors to relationships, to friendships that normally I probably would not have. I've met people who are much older than me, and I have guitar collector buddies who are respected businessmen. I have one of them is like probably the best investor in the Philippines. So I get to call him my bandmate and I get to learn from him. One of the other guys, one of the best architects in the Philippines. They're buddies. Hi guys. I won't mention your names. Don't worry. So it's such a powerful social tool to create relationships outside of business.
I love it.
So yeah.
So it's really more of the perspective. I love the perspective that nothing goes to waste. Everything happens for a reason for you. And it helps you into becoming the kind of person that you are. And I think you've got a lot of wisdom, you folks, from listening and watching this podcast. And I think you need time to process a little bit. So we'll be back after a few reminders.
Cool.
Inclusion is being asked to dance. This quote is by Verna Myers, emphasizes the importance of not only having a diverse workforce, but also creating an inclusive environment where everyone feels valued and included. It's a powerful reminder that true inclusivity goes beyond representation. It involves actively engaging and empowering all team members.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, U Green Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.
Hey Jasper, am I interviewing you or are you interviewing me?
Well, at least for this podcast, we're going to be interviewing you. We are back right here at Build Different, and somebody is already playing, making sure that you get to see what you
just
can
getting
do.
warmed up. We're getting warmed up.
Perfect. Okay, I love it. So let's get physical this time. In this segment, we call different, same, because in every episode we have, different people, and of course we sort of kind of have different views on things, but sometimes we are on the same track as well. So let us see, this time that you've mentioned that you are sort of kind of a music guy too, we're going to be playing on that. So this game is about you blurting out maybe the song top of mind. You could sing it out while you're having your workout as well. So
I don't sing, but I can blurt out the names.
Okay, first of all, what would be the best song to describe you?
Oh,
Ooh, so hard.
that's hard.
And then it's multitasking too.
I'd say Layla by Eric Clapton.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You research that, you guys. How about a song to your younger self? Yeah. What is that song? If you could describe yourself.
Jimi Hendrix, Little Wing.
Ooh, there you go. How about a song to describe your wife? Yes.
Ooh. That's a hard one. Yeah.
Her stillness, the calm that she brings in her life. But so many songs, I suppose, depends on the mood, but what is in right now, your head?
First Love by Utado. The Japanese girl, she sings that all the time. That's my song with her. First Love, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, a song to describe your home with the 5 kids and the wife and dynamics and whatnot. What is the song?
AC/DC, Highway to Hell.
Hey! Rock on. Okay. How about your current productivity jam? You're in the zone for work.
My productivity jam. Oh my gosh. I'd say anything by Johann Sebastian Bach.
Okay, introvert mode song. When you feel like you want to just be on your own.
Claude Debussy, Arabesque.
I love how varied the music is. And of course, a song for your parents.
Song for my parents. Stairway to Heaven.
Okay. How about for granddad?
I don't know why I keep thinking More Money, More Problems by Diddy.
Okay. I mean, I get
Infamous
that.
Diddy.
How about a song for your team?
For my team.
Yeah.
Queen's We Are the Champions.
Okay.
We are the champions.
Now there's a song.
Yeah.
I love the tune. All right, perfect vacay song or vacation track.
Perfect vacation track. Oh gosh. Anything by Jason Mraz, I guess, that vibe, that acoustic ukulele-ish vibe.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. How about a song, just in case, a song title if you're going to be writing a song? Or have you written a song?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Could you give us a title probably of a song you've written or something that you're going to be writing, thinking of writing? A title.
It's a song we've written recently. Gosh.
Are you seeing the notes but not the title?
Yeah, no, I'm collaborating with a friend now. We're rewriting hip hop remixes for a friend, and the song we're working on is Jabonga. Or something, yeah. Yeah, it's one of the rap songs. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. But no, an original, I'd say, I forget the name of the song because I just wrote the song for my daughter, Storm's Heartbeat. I took her ultrasound and then I sampled it and made music out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna be listening to that soon. But last, a song, because you've mentioned in your bio that you want to perform at the Wimbledon Theater.
Wembley, yes, yeah.
Wembley. What is that song
my
you're gonna
gosh.
be playing there? Maybe the finale or the first song? Up to you. First song.
I
maybe.
want to say we haven't written it yet, and it's something I hope the kids write a song that we can perform there. That'll be the dream.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
An original.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's the ultimate song for you? Which one is the best amongst generations? Is there something that you have?
Bohemian
on top of
Rhapsody.
mind? Okay.
Bohemian Rhapsody is like the pinnacle of rock music.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. There you have it, you guys. All right. That was experiential. That was fun.
Thank
But
you.
of course, as
Likewise.
we close this episode, any last words? What do you want to say? Just in case they would want to be reminded of this episode, what would be that key message you want to leave our viewers?
I'll use the same message my dad gave me. Seek balance, find balance. I mean, work hard, invest in yourself, in not just growing your business, but invest in yourself, building yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, not just financially.
And that's how you become a king. No, it's really more about, yes, that's what he mentioned, evolving yourself, I suppose, learning the ropes, listening to the people, and making the best decisions coming from all the things that you have accumulated and snowballed into as a leader. My name is Jasper Tiongson. How about another big hand for Atticus King, you folks?
Thank you. Thank you.
And see you in the next episode. This has been Built Different. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Ugreen Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.